Welcome to 1337, the future of podcast of books. I'm Max, your host, diving into epic tales and hidden gems.
And I'm Sophia, here to unpack the art of storytelling and the pages that move us. We're exploring novels, classics, and the craft behind the words.
Today we're diving deep into W.G. Sebald's Austerlitz. You've sent over a really fascinating collection of excerpts and articles.
Oh, thanks.
It seems like you're interested in exploring some of the novel's deeper layers.
Yeah, it's a book that really rewards that kind of deep dive. What's so captivating about Austerlitz is how it weaves personal memory with this huge backdrop of 20th century European history. It's a challenging read for sure, but it grapples with really profound themes. Displacement trauma, the struggle to rebuild a life shattered by the past.
Yeah, and at the heart of all of this is Jacques Austerlitz himself.
Right.
A man trying to piece together his forgotten past.
Exactly. Throughout the novel, he uncovers these fragments of his childhood, like revealing his experience as a refugee from Prague during World War II. But this journey goes beyond just uncovering facts. You know, it's about confronting the emotional weight of history, the way the past shapes the present.
Yeah, you highlighted quite a few passages about the power of place and memory in the novel.
Uh-huh.
Sebald connects physical spaces with Austerlitz's internal state so vividly. Places like the Antwerp Nocturama, Theresienstadt, even Liverpool Street Station.
Right.
What is he doing with these locations?
I think these places become more than just settings for Austerlitz's story. They act as repositories of history and trauma. They trigger fragmented memories and force him to confront the weight of his past. Like, take the Antwerp Nocturama, for example, that place of artificial dusk where he observes nocturnal creatures under a pale moon.
Right.
I think it speaks to his sense of displacement, like existing outside of time.
I can see how that feeling of being out of sync with time would resonate with someone who's lost their childhood, their sense of belonging.
Absolutely. And it resurfaces later at Liverpool Street Station, where he experiences a kind of epiphany in the ladies' waiting room. These spaces become catalysts for memory, prompting him to delve deeper into the mysteries of his own life.
And looming over everything, even though it's not explicitly depicted in graphic detail, is the Holocaust. Austerlitz may not be a direct survivor, but his life is shaped by those events. You've pointed out subtle references throughout your excerpts, things like the Kindertransport, the disappearance of his parents, the Theresienstadt film.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Those subtle details are key to understanding Sebald's approach. He captures the enduring impact of the Holocaust without resorting to explicit depictions of violence. Instead, he focuses on its lingering presence, its subtle but profound effects on individual lives. Consider the Theresienstadt film. Austerlitz describes it in a way that reveals the weight of what happened there, even though the film itself was Nazi propaganda attempting to present a sanitized version of the ghetto.
So Sebald uses this Potemkin village concept, a facade masking a darker reality, to highlight the deceptive nature of appearances, especially when it comes to historical events.
Precisely. Theresienstadt was designed to deceive the world about the true nature of the Holocaust. And I think this resonates with Austerlitz's own experience, as he's also trying to see through the layers of obfuscation and denial that cloud his personal history.
It's like he's unraveling layers of deception, both in his personal life and in his understanding of history. And all of this is conveyed through Sebald's unique writing style. Those long, winding sentences. It's almost like we're experiencing Austerlitz's thoughts unfolding in real time.
Right.
It's very interesting.
That's one of the things that makes Sebald so compelling, I think. The style mirrors Austerlitz's fragmented memory, his struggle to make sense of his past. The stream of consciousness draws you into his internal world, into the process of remembering.
It creates a sense of intimacy, almost like we're eavesdropping on a private confession. You mentioned the Theresienstadt film. Mm-hmm. What other moments or details in the text stand out to you as particularly significant?
Well, there's this recurring motif of moths throughout the novel. They appear in these incredibly evocative descriptions.
Okay.
Moths are drawn to light, but often meet their demise because of it. And I think Sebald uses this imagery to represent the persistence of memory and trauma.
Yeah.
You know, they're fragile, yet they leave a lasting impression, like the traces of the past lingering in the present.
That makes me think about the passage where he says the moths remain fixed in the place where they came to grief. It's a powerful metaphor for how suffering leaves an indelible mark, not just on individuals, but on the world itself.
Exactly. And there's another striking image, the snow white goose in the traveling circus.
Okay.
Austerlitz is captivated by its stillness amidst the chaos. And I see it as a symbol of purity and steadfastness, a reminder that even in the face of profound loss, there can be moments of beauty and grace.
It's interesting how those seemingly small details, the moths, the goose, becomes so resonant within the larger context of Austerlitz's journey. It speaks to Sebald's ability to find meaning in the seemingly ordinary.
He has this incredible knack for imbuing everyday objects and encounters with a sense of history and significance. It makes you look at the world differently to appreciate the stories hidden in plain sight.
And then there are the grand spaces, the Parisian train stations, the Bibliothèque Nationale. They seem to hold both personal and historical significance for Austerlitz.
Yeah, those spaces become repositories of memory for him. He's drawn to their grandeur, but also senses the undercurrents of history flowing through them. The Parisian train stations, especially the Gare d'Austerlitz, become symbolic of his journeys, both physically and emotionally. And the Bibliothèque Nationale, with its vast collection of books and archives, represents the weight of history, the accumulation of knowledge and experience that he's grappling with.
It's almost as if these spaces offer him a sense of connection to something larger than himself, a way to make sense of his own fragmented identity. Speaking of fragmentation, the moment he discovers his true name, Jacques Austerlitz, is a turning point in the novel.
Absolutely. That revelation sets him on a path of self-discovery, a quest to reclaim his lost past. And the name Austerlitz itself, with its historical connotations, adds another layer of complexity to his identity. He's named after a famous battle, a pivotal moment in European history. This connection to the past weighs heavily on him, shaping his understanding of himself and his place in the world.
It's like his name is a reminder of the forces of history that have shaped his life, a life he's only beginning to understand. And this quest for understanding leads him to explore some pretty somber spaces, fortresses, prisons, places that evoke a sense of confinement and control.
Yeah, I think those structures become metaphors for Austerlitz's own feelings of imprisonment, of being trapped by the past. He's drawn to their imposing presence, yet recognizes their vulnerability, how even the strongest structures can crumble and decay. He observed how fortresses often drew attention to your weakest point, practically inviting the enemy to attack it. It's as if he sees himself as a fortress vulnerable despite his attempts at self-preservation.
It's a powerful image, and it speaks to the inherent fragility of human beings, even those who appear strong and resilient on the surface.
Exactly. And his description of the fortress of Breendonk, a Nazi concentration camp during World War II, is particularly chilling. He calls it a monstrous incarnation of ugliness and blind violence, acknowledging the horror of what happened there, but also recognizing the enduring presence of that horror.
There's also this chilling detail he mentions about the fortress being built in concentric rings, making their way steadily outward until the idea comes up against its natural limits. It's almost like a metaphor for Austerlitz's own search for his past, constantly expanding outward, yet ultimately confined by the boundaries of his own memory.
It's as if he's searching for an escape from the labyrinth of his past, but keeps running into those same walls, those same limitations.
Right.
It's a stark reminder that the past is not something we can simply leave behind.
Yeah.
It shapes us, defines us, even as we try to move beyond it. And that brings us back to the central question of the novel. How do we grapple with a past we can't fully access?
It's a question that resonates deeply with Austerlitz and with anyone who's experienced loss or trauma. He's constantly seeking answers, but they remain elusive. The past is fragmented, obscured by time and pain.
Right.
Yet he persists in his search, driven by a need to understand to make sense of his own existence.
Yeah, it's a search that many of us can relate to on some level. The desire to understand where we come from, to find our place in the world, even when the past is shrouded in mystery and sorrow. Austerlitz doesn't offer easy answers, but it provides a powerful framework for grappling with these complex questions.
It's a novel that encourages us to confront the difficult truths of history, to explore the shadowy corners of memory, and to find beauty and meaning in the most unexpected places. I think we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah, it really does stay with you. One of the things that makes it so haunting is that sense of urgency in Austerlitz's search. It's like he knows that time is running out, that these memories might just slip away if he doesn't grasp them.
He's racing against time, trying to piece together his past before it fades completely.
Exactly, and I think that urgency is connected to this whole theme of remembrance that runs through the novel. Austerlitz isn't just about uncovering like a personal history, it's about the importance of remembering, especially in the face of events that seek to just erase entire communities and their stories.
You've also pointed out how Austerlitz uses photography to document the places he visits and the people he encounters. Is that part of this act of remembrance too?
Definitely. Photography becomes a way for him to capture those fleeting moments, to freeze time in a way. It's like he's creating a tangible archive of his experience, a visual counterpoint to the fragmented narratives that he's piecing together.
And those photographs often depict These seemingly mundane objects. A walled-up window, a train station, a collection of moths. But they take on a deeper significance when viewed through the lens of Austerlitz's experience, right?
They become imbued with this weight of memory, these layers of meaning. It reminds me of how Sebald himself incorporates actual photographs into the text. It's not just embellishment. Those grainy black and white images add another dimension to the story, blurring the lines between fact and fiction, past and present.
It's almost as if Sebald is inviting us to look closer to examine the seemingly ordinary details of the world and just consider the stories they might hold. And Austerlitz is certainly a keen observer, noticing those subtle nuances in the places he visits and the people he meets.
That's one of the things that makes him such a compelling narrator. He's attuned to the textures, the colors, the sounds of the places he visits, and he's not just observing physical spaces. He's fascinated by people, their stories, their connections to the past.
Like Vera Rishanova, his former nanny.
Right.
She provides him with these crucial pieces of information about his parents and his early life in Prague.
Yes.
Their relationship is so poignant. She's one of the few people who seems to truly understand him.
She's a vital link to his past, offering him not just information, but also a sense of comfort and belonging. And their conversations are just filled with a tenderness and intimacy that's so rare in the novel. It speaks to the enduring power of human connection, even in the face of profound loss.
And then there's that incredibly moving moment when Austerlitz discovers a photograph of himself as a child, dressed up for a costume party.
Right.
He's struck by the piercing, inquiring gaze of the boy in the photo.
That image really gets to the heart of Austerlitz's journey. The photograph becomes a symbol of his lost childhood, a reminder of who he was before the war, before his life was fractured by displacement and trauma. And that piercing gaze, it's almost as if the boy in the photo is holding Austerlitz accountable for forgetting his past.
It's like a challenge to remember to reclaim that lost identity. There's a sense that he needs to confront these painful memories in order to heal, to move forward.
And that process of healing, of integrating his fragmented past into his present, is really a central theme in the novel. Austerlitz's journey isn't just about uncovering facts. It's about making meaning of them, finding a way to live with the weight of history.
It's a journey that takes him to all sorts of places, from libraries and archives to abandoned fortresses. He seems driven by this insatiable need to understand the past.
Yeah, those spaces become more than just locations for Austerlitz. They become these symbolic representations of his quest for knowledge, for understanding. The libraries and archives represent that desire to piece together a narrative from scattered fragments. And the fortresses, those imposing structures that speak to both strength and vulnerability, reflect his own struggle to confront the darkness of history.
And Sebald's descriptions of these spaces are so vivid, so detailed.
Right.
It's almost as if he's an architect himself, using language to construct these intricate and evocative landscapes.
He has this incredible ability to transport the reader, to make you feel like you're right there alongside Austerlitz, experiencing the weight of these places, the texture of their surfaces, the play of light and shadow.
Yeah.
And there's always this underlying sense of melancholy, of things passing away.
Like those decaying mansions he visits with Gerald. You can practically feel the dampness and the dust settling as they wander through those abandoned rooms, or the deserted landscapes he describes with those ghostly figures appearing on the periphery of his vision. There's this feeling that the past is never truly gone.
Yeah, it lingers in the architecture and the landscape, even in the very air Austerlitz breathes. It's inescapable.
Yeah.
And it's something he has to learn to live with.
That scene in the Liverpool Street Station waiting room is a powerful example of how the past can intrude on the present. It's almost as if time collapses in that moment, as if all the layers of history converge in that one space.
That scene is such a turning point for Austerlitz. It's where he has this profound realization, this breakthrough moment. The waiting room becomes more than just a place. It becomes a symbolic space, a repository of memory and loss. And it just underscores how even in the most mundane of settings, there can be these extraordinary connections to something larger than ourselves.
It's a reminder to pay attention, to look closely at the world around us, and consider the stories hidden in plain sight. There's so much to unpack in Austerlitz, so much to contemplate. It's the kind of novel that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
It's a novel that demands rereading, that reveals new layers of meaning each time you encounter it. And it leaves us with some profound questions about memory, about history, about the human condition itself.
Like, how do we find meaning in the face of immense loss? How do we reconcile ourselves to the past? How do we live with the knowledge of suffering and injustice?
Austerlitz doesn't offer any easy answers to those questions, but it encourages us to grapple with them, to engage with the complexities of history and the enduring power of memory.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there can still be beauty and hope, and that the act of remembering is itself a form of resistance, a way of honoring those who came before us and ensuring that their stories are not forgotten. There's so much more we could discuss about this book, but I think we've given you a good starting point for your own exploration. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Just that Austerlitz is a novel that rewards patience and careful attention. Don't be afraid to slow down to savor Sebald's language, to let the images and ideas wash over you. There's a profound beauty to be found in its melancholy and its exploration of loss and memory.
Well said. I think we've done a good job unpacking some of the key themes and ideas in Austerlitz, but as you said, it's a novel that invites multiple readings and interpretations.
Visit us at 1337podcast.com for more.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Strength and honor.
I am Spartacus.
Thanks for watching. Tap into 1337podcast.com.